So I asked you guys if you guys want to see what alts I'm getting into. A lot of you guys want to do, so let's do it. Let's get into it. The market's pumping, and as I promised, I actually did something crazy. I went ahead and got a loan on my crypto, and yes, this is what makes crypto pretty cool. I got a $28,000 loan. Well, I put up $28,000 worth of Ethereum, and I got a $21,000 balance from some of my ETH. And I don't, it's important to have some risk management because you are paying 14% interest, which is almost 1% a month. But I believe I'm going to outstrip this. I'm going to destroy this 1% a month. In fact, that 1% a month is now for a reason. I could have probably gotten some of these assets cheaper, but I'm going to explain to you why I waited. For people who are experienced in crypto, you'll understand why you need to wait for this critical juncture to do and get these loans. First of all, I was in the money on my ETH, big time. Even if I got a loan on it at 21,000 for the 6 ETH I put in here, guess what? It's $3,500 an ETH. Even if I get liquidated, I don't really care. I was in them for probably $1,400. I've already over doubled them 2.5 times. So, c'est la vie. I'm already in the money. Plus, I'm holding the other asset. Also, other assets that I'm purchasing with it. Also, on top of it, I'm not paying any taxes. Once you get a loan, you don't pay taxes on the ETH or the Bitcoin or whatever you have. If you are getting a loan on it, you don't pay capital gains taxes or anything. So in a way, it kind of like, I'm getting kind of almost maybe not full amount, but very close to what I would have got anyways. So in a way, I'm pretty safe. But I think ETH is going to continue to go up. And I'd like to thank all my friends over at SBET and BMNR and all of the ETH treasuries, because they've kind of provided a baseline for me to get this loan because I feel very confident. And I've actually gone long, like a 10x long on ETH2 today for this reason, because I feel very comfortable with billions of dollars going into ETH. So there are risks to this, but this is an advanced strategy. So I'm putting money to work. I'm going to show you where I'm putting it to work. We can close this down. So let's educate everyone first. I understand a lot of people watching my channel are not crypto people. So I want to educate you guys on something. A lot of people think everything in crypto is like Bitcoin or Ethereum or some of these tokens they've heard of. First of all, most of these tokens have huge amounts of inflation. So this is the number one indicator that you have to be careful about, that a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers and people on X don't tell you. They'll shill you a token and you'll get in it, and then 6 months later in a bull market, you'll be down 80% and you can't figure out why. Why am I down? Well, I'm going to explain this to you. First of all, I don't own any XRP because XRP has crazy levels of inflation. In fact, I'm shocked it's even up. It's literally one of the only ones that's up. I think XRP, even Sol has a decent amount of I was going to say inflammation, but you can both call it both. Inflation. I mean, basically XRP prints more than the US dollar, but it keeps going up, which is it's one of those cases where there's so much demand for it that they can't. A few months ago, this was at 55 billion. Now it's at 59 billion. So XRP is dumping all over these people. But it doesn't seem to make a difference. The people are happy. They're very happy. And they continue. They can dump, they have authority to dump 1 billion tokens a month. So 1 billion tokens a month at $3 is $3 billion a month. They have a money printer. The US government is not the only money printer in town. XRP, the Ripple Foundation, they can fight the US government. Oh, they did. Yes, they beat the SEC for a reason. They have legit their own money printer. This is a money printer. It's amazing. At some point, it will hurt them, but that's why it fell during the bear market. As you can see down here, it started to fall. It's not going to be able to hold its ground forever. So this is why I don't get into certain tokens. There's other tokens like BNB, which is actually deflationary, but I can't figure out exactly how they do it. I've looked at this data over the years. I've looked at this is what they burn. They literally burn $1 billion worth of tokens every 3 months. You can actually see the number here. This is BNB, and this is very rare. They're going to burn until they get to 100. And this is the one that's backed by Binance and CZ. So they're going to burn until they get to 100 a million BNB. So in a way, BNB is actually a good investment. And that's why from time to time when I see BNB take a dip, number one, it's backed by CZ. Number two, Binance. Number three, they're burning their tokens. I've looked at these formulas. I've looked at these formulas with some incredibly smart people and no sense of it. The only sense I make out of it is, okay, first of all, they're burning $1 billion. And this is when for you stock guys out there, this is where you're like, well, regulations help. Yes, because this is absurdity. Okay. They're saying they're burning $1 billion, basically, and 1 billion won in Q3. And then they burnt $1 billion in Q1. Where did it come from? How do you burn so many tokens? Well, they have a formula and it's all fancy. It actually doesn't make any sense, because if you took a minute and you went to DeFi Llama and you saw how much they earn, they earned $376,000 yesterday. Well, if you do that over 30-day period, and then you do it over a 90-day period, it's a 90-day period, which is per quarter. It's only get $33 million. So where'd the other $1 billion come from? Well, we don't know. I think what's happening is they're minting the tokens and then they're burning the tokens. But also CZ owns like 80% of BNB supply from when he got into a court case in trouble, and where, he went to prison and all. So they found a lot of the BNB he actually owns. So I actually feel relatively safe owning BNB. For this reason. He owns it. He's the wealthiest person in crypto, maybe one of the top wealthiest people in the world. He's worth like 80 billion, probably now more, over $100 billion. A lot of his wealth is in actually BNB, so that's what you have to consider. Am I buying BNB? No. Am I buying XRP? No. I do own BNB. I actually own a substantial amount of BNB, maybe too much. And you can also use this website, DeFi Llama, to do research. It has a great amount of information. You can see, the fees, different layer ones and projects get, and you can do, it's just great. You can start using DeFi Llama, and you should, and you can look at how much they earn and the fees they got in the last 30 days, see if something's legitimate, and you got Pump Fund here. Pump Fund made, wow, I can't believe Pump Fund made $41 million. And now that they have their own token, well, that makes sense. So you can see, they have their own token. They have the Pump token, and they made $41 million. Well, last 30 days and last 7 days, they made $20 million, which means this month they might make $80 million. Well, now you can start to extrapolate and go, is it worth buying Pump, even though they have high inflation? And I'm going to show you what high inflation does, because a lot of people don't understand what it does. So I don't buy XRP because of the high inflation, but that's literally an outlier. Solana has inflation too, but a little bit less. XRP is XRP could be way higher than anyone else. It's literally, they can do a billion, I believe, 1 billion tokens a month, which is like, it's like 15% a year they could do. They don't, but they could. So, but that scares the crap out of me. So I stay out of it. Solana is about 7.5%. Chainlink is about, I believe they're bringing it down between 5 or 6%. I believe it was higher, but you can see Chainlink's doing relatively well. So inflation is not necessarily a killer if you can handle it and if you're one of the top tokens. But inflation has killed so many tokens that were in the top 50 that are no longer here. Okay? So that's what you got to start to understand. And you see, I have to go all the way down to ARB. So I'll bring Arbitrum up. A lot of people in my group were getting an Arbitrum when it first came back. They thought it's the best thing, it's going to do incredibly well. And ARB is a very active layer 2. However, because of inflation, look at what has happened to ARB. This is a bull run, guys, and it's gone down since its inception. It had 10 billion tokens, 5 billion circulating supply. When it first came out, it was about 2 billion circulating supply. It hasn't been able to absorb it, even though there's over 1 billion volume a day coming through it. It hasn't been able to absorb it. You got to understand something. Inflation is your number one enemy for most tokens, for 99% of them. Don't look at XRP and Link and some of these other ones that have done well. It's only a few, very select few. It's like Lambos and Ferraris, and then everything else just drops off. Aston Martin and McLaren are going bankrupt, literally trying to find someone to buy them. Aston Martin and Ferrari make money, and that's kind of those are the brand names. Everyone else underneath them has a hard time. They can't sell their cars for $300,000. That's how you have to view them. And the ARB situation is repeated over and over again. It's not an outlier. Optimism is another layer 2. Again, money grab by the VCs. Again, you can see 1.7 billion total in circulation. 4.2 is what it has. Again, this is a bull run. If you had bought Arbitrum anytime, you would be down. You're just down. You're down. The only people that have made money are people who bought it since June. That's it. That's when it hit the lows. But anyone else here is just screwed because the foundation, the people, the team are just dumping on you. So this is what I try to stay away from. So I thought it's important to educate you guys about this kind of stuff. And a lot of tokens have unlimited supply. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Ethereum has unlimited supply. A lot of them have it. But if there's no checks to that unlimited supply, it can go very, very, very bad. I'm going to actually bring up this one token that was really hot. Zao AI. This one, a lot of people were talking about it in my group, and I basically, during the last about a year ago, they were talking about it, and I said, do not buy this because it had AI. So it's very important not to get into something based on just because you think it's hot. Because look at what I saw. I saw max supply and I saw circulating supply. It was even lower back then. I was like, we're going to get dumped on. And I saw people buying nodes. So for this one, you buy these nodes, which gives you more tokens every day. Node holders, they raised up millions of dollars like this. Well, guess what? Those node holders were getting free tokens every single day. I had one YouTuber who had bought like 50 of them for like $15,000. They were like, or 45 of them. They were like $300 each. And then the notes started going for $5,000 each because people were making so much money because the token was up here. And then the node holders started dumping on everyone. As you can see, most of these charts look the same. We've got to avoid these. These are grenades. We avoid them. It's like the Jersey Shore, they say, you got to avoid the grenades. It's the same here. You got to avoid these. So this is what I'm going to put my money into, avoiding the stuff, the garbage like this. Okay. So I'm also not going to put my money into alts that have already gone up. Okay. I'm not going to go into, for example, Solana. I own Bitcoin. I own Ethereum. That should be the number one and number two tokens you own in your portfolio, because that will kind of be the core and kind of stabilize your portfolio. Those aren't going to go way up too much. Well, Ethereum has been on a ride, but they're also not going to drop too much, at least not during a bull run. Okay. I do own BNB. I own a very small amount of Solana because I do trade on Solana. There's a lot of good stuff on Solana, but I might buy Solana, not yet. And the way things are going to go is very simple. Bitcoin hits all-time highs. It keeps running. Ethereum is going to make a brand new high. The reason I started leveraging my Ethereum right now is once Ethereum goes past 4,900 or 5,000, it's going to go into price discovery. It's going to hit all-time high, and that is actually when technically, officially, alt season begins. That's when the madness will begin. That's when you want to start to buy the alts, which we're very close to 4,900. So I'm positioning myself now. And the reason I'm paying a little bit more for the alts now, rather than if I would have bought them a month ago or a few weeks ago, is very simple. I'm basically leveraging my Ethereum. So basically, in the terms of Ethereum to those alts, I'm actually buying them cheap, at the same price or lower than a month ago, unless they've gone up more. But Ethereum's gone up 60%. So I'm getting a loan on my ETH. So I'm doing how much they're worth per ETH. And most of the time, the alts I'm buying haven't moved as much as ETH. So I'm taking my ETH that's run up, I'm leveraging it, and I'm buying those assets with it. But so if you didn't have cheap ETH, yes, you will be paying more. But I had the luxury of being in crypto for a while. I had the luxury of taking my time and watching the market and picking out the correct time to get a loan on my ETH. So understand this: for your next bull run, you can wait closer to this point, let things run up a little bit. In fact, it's actually safer to watch stuff run up a little bit, because now you know the alt season and the run up is coming. You've kind of seen it play out, if that makes sense. Okay. I've kind of taken some of the risk off. So I'm okay going into some of these assets paying 10 or 20% more, because compared to my price of ETH, my ETH has gone up 60% in the last 30 days. So what did I buy today? Actually, I've been on a little bit of a buying tear. I'm going to give you what to look for. First of all, I don't want to buy anything major, like $12 billion market cap, 15, like Sui's a good project. Do I want to buy a $14 billion market cap? No, I'm looking to put this money to work. I'm looking, listen, Malibu Dreamhouse money. That's what this channel is about. Big time trades. We're going to make big time trades. We're not here to do 20%, 30%, 50%, 60%, 100%. We're looking for big time multiples, okay? How are we going to get that Malibu Dreamhouse? Okay, how are we going to get it? Well, you got to hit a 10xer and a 20xer and a 50xer and a 100xer. It's the only way you're going to hit it. You're not going to get it at a $14 billion market cap. You're just not. To me, the lowest I would go, the highest, what I would say, most market cap alt I would go is AVAX, called Avalanche. And the reason I would buy Avalanche is, well, it does have inflation. It's not too crazy because they spread it out over a lot of years, number one. But last bull run, AVAX or Avalanche went all the way to $150. And they also do burn their fees. So the number of tokens do come down a little bit, not a lot. They've only burned $120 million over, they've been around, I don't even know now, 6-7 years or something like that. But they have a decent enough, they have a decent enough ecosystem. We got the chart up. So one of the reasons is that AVAX went to about 125, actually went a little bit higher. It did hit about 150 intraday. So it did go way higher. I believe that AVAX is probably going to go right back to about 125 on the minimum. Market cap will be higher than last time, a little bit higher, but it can get there. It can get to a $50-60 billion. Now, it can get there because it already got to about $58, $55, yeah, $50 or $60 in March of 2024. Okay. Over a year ago, it already got there. So there is some inflation that is in there, but this inflation isn't quite like some of the other ones that have inflation that hits over a 1 or 2 year period. AVAX's inflation, you can always go check on this website called cryptorank.io. I check all of them there. You can see most of them are done. Most of the lockups are done. The foundation, it's every 90 days. There's one coming tomorrow. Most of this you can see is going to the foundation. I'm not so worried that the foundation is going to dump on me, and all of this is going to the foundation going forward. So I'm not so worried that the foundation is going to sell on me as much as I am maybe people in the team. Definitely public sale, the community, private sale, airdrops definitely going to dump on you. Stuff like that. So I'm not as worried about this kind of stuff. And I use this website for a lot of stuff. So you got to definitely come and start learning these tools. Otherwise, you're going to get demolished out here. You're going to get demolished. There isn't anything else that I can say. So like you can put in, like I put in ICP and you can click on vesting. I put in ICP for a reason. I bought a lot of this today. Why? Well, the unlocks are gone. Look, all the unlocks, they're done. They're done. There's no more. You see? When you went to AVAX, you still had like unlocks every 90 days going to the foundation. This doesn't have any. It's all done. It's all done. It's beautiful. It tells you the seed sale, early backers. Everyone's got their tokens. It's there. There's still inflation on ICP, but we'll get to it. So this is one of the reasons that I believe that AVAX is probably going to get to a minimum 125. And you've seen the narrative change. There's also an ETF coming out on AVAX. AVAX is run by Ava Labs. They're in the United States. So this is the theory for me, that AVAX is going to get their ETF by end of the year. I believe it's coming up by the end of the year. And you should always look at which ETFs are coming. Almost, Solana has the ETF. Solana, we might have to start buying some Solana. Their ETF is probably going to get approved in the next 2 months. AVAX, I believe theirs is going to get approved in November or December. I have to look, but you can look this information up. These are the things you got to look for in these particular tokens. Okay, so these are the things that you got to look for. So AVAX is definitely one. I have a big bag of it. I'm going to be buying a little bit more of it. But after that, I'm going way down the charts. I'm going way down, way down. Now, Pepe is one I would buy. And the reason I would buy Pepe is because it's tied to ETH. Pepe is the biggest meme coin on ETH. Okay, being big on ETH and being a meme coin on ETH worth $5 billion, it could definitely run. But is it going to run as much as the smaller meme coins? No, but it's also not going to fall because it has a huge community. So it already has a huge backing and a huge community. This is definitely one that can 5 to 10x. Okay. Again, not crazy numbers, but decent numbers. As we go down the list, we're going to get better and better. Okay. So let's keep going. Now, the one I really like, and I own a lot of internet computer. I bought a whole bunch of it with the money I got today. I'm probably close to 12,000 tokens on internet computer. And I paid, yes, a little bit more than I would have a month ago. I think it evens out at the end of the day. My ETH went up 59%, but look, internet computer only went up 12%. So I'm looking for undervalued assets. Now, internet computer is like the AWS of crypto. It is a real project. It has over 200 people that work on it. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. You can do all the research yourself. It's an incredible project. It's a very powerful project. It does AI, it does a lot of stuff. Near protocol is also good, but near protocol, I think if you own a AI project, you should just buy, the most powerful one. I think internet computer is one of them, but near protocol is another one you could definitely buy. $3 billion market cap also. So if you look, for example, at AVAX gone up about 21%. So it's moved up a little bit in the last 30 days compared to 60% on ETH, but internet computer hasn't really moved very much, 12%. And I don't know what the reason is for it, but it just hasn't. They have a lot of great technology, a lot of great stuff. And I've actually showed you the tokenomics here. It's incredible. And they have an incredible system, incredible dashboard. They're the most transparent. You can actually see how many tokens they have. They have a burn. They burn all their fees. In the last year, they've burned 2 million of the ICP tokens, which is very impressive. At one point, they were at an incredible rate. They've slowed down a little bit, but they're still burning. You can see how much the reward providers get and the people who stake them. And you can also stake your ICP to make money. Now, I did a little bit of math. The people that get voting rewards in a year and the people who get node rewards, which basically runs all the supercomputers that run ICP, came to about 28 million tokens for the year, I believe. Came out to about 28 million tokens for the year. So they increased the number of tokens by about 28 million, but you offset it by this 2 million. Now, what you're hoping for over time, because they have some very powerful projects running this, anytime you want to get more computing power or more server power, server time, you have to buy ICP and buy that time. So basically, this inflation of the burns can increase dramatically, as it did with a few projects that came on it. Number one. Number two, what we also don't know about ICP is what we do know about ICP is if the price of ICP goes up, the amount of node rewards get paid in dollars, not in ICP. So if let's say ICP goes to $50 like it was back here, it would only be like 50,000, 60,000 a month or 100,000 a month versus now they're paying out 400,000 a month. So the inflation can go way down. Oh, I'm sorry. Inflation is not that much. It's 400,000, 6 million. So add 6 million plus, I believe this was 12 million for the year. So 6 million, 12 million for the year is 18 million. So let's do the math. 16 million was the inflation divided by, so you got, with crypto, you gotta know how to do math. 3% inflation a year. 3% inflation a year isn't bad, guys. For crypto, it's not bad. And this has a potential of going down to 1.5 or even 1% a year. There's no more unlocks, no more dumping. Team doesn't have to dump on you. So this is the kind of stuff I look for. Okay. So that's another project. This is a project that I got into big. If you want AI plays, there's definitely Near also. I think that's okay. But besides these, we got to go down the list a little bit more. Pudgy Penguins is an interesting one to me. They have a great brand name, 2.3 billion, but they do have some unlocks. Okay. That's a thing you got to worry about. It's nothing crazy, but they got some, and it's a brand new token, and brand new tokens are actually great. Why are they great? Well, brand new tokens are great because they go into price discovery. Once this kind of breaks out from here, the 0.4, which was the 4 cents, which was its old high, went all the way down to under a penny, by the way. It's a little scary. These are obviously a lot more risky, but they've been able to come back up. Pudgy Penguins on a nice dip, which I don't know if we'll get a dip. I was hoping we get a dip. Could be kind of that runaway hit. Okay. Fully diluted 2.9 billion. Not crazy, not bad. Okay. So let's keep going down. Now you start looking at these. Most of these, I don't think they're going to move, but I don't think they're going to move like what we want. Okay. Like SPX 6900 is a meme coin. Yes, this could 10x easy. Am I buying it? No, I think I want to go way down the list. Pump fund, could it move? Like I showed you the revenues pump fund is making. If the revenues really start moving, that's what you got to look at. Then you can buy it. I wouldn't buy it necessarily right now because also pump fund has an absolute enormous amount of unlocks. In fact, we've seen what unlocks have done. Only 35% of the token has been unlocked. So I'm a little cautious when I see stuff like this. It doesn't mean it can't go up on the short term, but at some point, I'm a little bit nervous if team or whoever is going to just dump the hell out of me. Okay, so that's why I'm a little bit nervous. So I like to keep going down the list. Sonic is one I do own, but I'm not buying it right now. It's been having a hard time. You see, in the last 30 days, it's actually gone down. These are not necessarily good signs in a bull market to be going down. It's definitely undervalued, but that's because the team is making some errors. So a couple of guys asked me about virtual protocol. They said, virtual protocol, what do you think of that? I think that's fine if you're going to buy virtual protocol. I believe that virtual protocol with what they got going on is going to do relatively well. It's going to do relatively well. This is one that can easily 10x. If the AI agent narrative takes off again, which it is, this is the one people are going to get into. Now, I bring up Pith Networks for a reason for you guys. Again, I do not buy this. Inflation has killed it. You see the same chart? This is like the inflation chart. Look how much, 5.7 billion out of the 10 billion. This thing might not ever go up. So this is what you need to avoid. These are called landmines. You need, grenades or landmines. You got to avoid these, okay? So hopefully that gives you an idea. Out of those, I don't like much, okay? So we're going to go to a different chart. See these, 400, 500 million. Besides those, we're going to go way down the list. We are going to go way down the list. This is my other list that I have. Peanut the Squirrel, remember him? He was a fun one. So we are definitely, okay, so these tokens here, inflation killed a lot of these tokens. Bring up this list because I like to look at what worked and what didn't work. And I actually follow a lot of stuff that YouTubers followed. Like this one was one that Alex Becker, and I made money on this, was talking about. It's only worth $7.7 million. When he was talking about it, it went from like 10 million to 28 million and then went to 50 something million. I bought some in I think the 17 or 18 million range and I sold it way up there, but it's now come back down. So YouTubers are often wrong, but I want you to understand how the game is played. You need YouTubers in crypto because they are our CNBC. Out there in stock market, CNBC works. You see, look at this chart. Horrific if you would have bought this thing. Okay. Alex Becker was pushing this thing, and I'm going to show you Alex Becker's YouTube in a second. And I'm going to show you some stuff that some YouTubers that I like are shilling. And this is where I'm going because I'm showing you this stuff to avoid. Okay. All right. Crap. Wally. I was in Wally. I made a lot of money on Wally, but now it's worth $41,000. You got to get in and out. So I'm bringing up like kind of my old stuff to kind of see something. This was one that was shilled by Sphere Finance by Jesse Echo, who's actually a good YouTuber. It went way up and then went way down. He thought it's going to do well. It didn't. So you got to understand everything you have to take with a grain of salt, but you need YouTubers. Okay. Now he's shilling this one called Winner Protocol. I don't think Winner Protocol is a winner, by the way. But he did bring up this one that I really liked. It's called Virus. And I brought up Virus over here. If we bring up Virus, it's actually pretty cool. And the reason I like it is, first of all, look at the market cap, gentlemen. $3.4 million. It's nothing. And Jesse Eckel is a YouTuber. And why is YouTubers important in crypto? Well, I'm actually a crypto YouTuber too. I have another channel called Crypto Circus, which I'll bring up for you guys in a second. Well, this is what I do. First of all, and you got to track what's going on. 2 weeks ago, he had a video that did 129,000 views. This is when I knew something had fundamentally changed. And his views had started going up. 43,000, 20,000, 24,000. And I actually like him. He's a really good YouTuber. Before that, look, 9,500 4 months ago, 5,700. I mean, I get more views than this now on my videos. And I just started this channel literally a few weeks ago, just for fun. And I was getting more views than a YouTuber who had 63,000 views Okay, so when I see the views start going up, I know things are cooking. I know the market is changing. He wasn't doing anything. His views had fallen way off, and now his views are back up. 43,000, 45,000. This one, 15,000, a little weak. But overall, the trend is amazing. 129,000, 28,000, 49,000. And it's happening more and more to other YouTubers also. To me, that's powerful. And then this is Alex Becker. This guy, I think he's getting paid, or he has partnerships in a lot of the tokens he's talking about. So you got to understand, you do need the YouTubers. You want someone who's pushing it, but these big YouTubers, you can't trust. I'm being hit up. I just started this channel and I'm being hit up like crazy by people who want me to shill tokens for them. Okay. So you got to understand, if I'm getting hit up, this guy must be having his entire mailbox full. Hey, let's make a partnership. Same thing with Jesse Eckel. So it just depends on the integrity of the YouTuber, whether they're willing to do those things or not. That is what you guys have to understand. And this is my channel, Crypto Circus. And I really try to only focus on things that focus on things on my channel that I am passionate about. So I haven't covered anything, as you can see, in about a week. Before then, it was a couple months. I like to keep it concise and together with what I believe is going to happen and how it's going to happen. Or if there's a project, sometimes there's nothing to really talk about. So that channel is a little bit different. So I'm bringing up this project for a reason, Virus for a reason. First of all, Jesse Eckel is backing it. He's making videos about it, and I like the project, and it's only $3 million. He actually talked about another project called Avo, or Avocado, I believe, or whatever. This was worth only like under $1 million when he talked about it. It's a new project, so that means we can go into price discovery. It's AI agents. Inflation is done. It's great. Okay. Very risky. Volume is decent. Volume's starting to pick up. And the fact that Jesse is covering it from time to time is fantastic, because it has someone backing it. This is what you want. It's on Sol. And the third project he covered that I actually liked was this one. UAUN. This one. Actually really cool. And he explains it on his videos. Again, a little bit more than I'd like, 22 million. The other ones are like 3-4 million. But can this go to, 500 million, 600 million, something of that range? I think it can. Inflation is a little bit on this one. It's not crazy, but most of his supply is out. So it's okay. It's also something that hasn't been around that long. So it can go in a price discovery mode at some point. It's been around about a year. Okay. So, it looks okay. I like the other two better. The one that was my favorite was this one by far, Avo, by far my favorite. This one I think was an excellent pick by him. I think Virus was an excellent pick by him too. Then I'm going to show you another pick of mine that I owned, which I think is going to run up, called Fold, FLD. It is also on CoinGecko or CMC. You can look it up. And I brought up the chart here because I think it's an easier chart to look at. This one is really interesting. They're actually letting the supply out over about 26 years. And it's also from a group of guys that have been in crypto for a very long time, and they've made some massive projects that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, have a good track record. So they think long term. Now, do I think it's going to go 26 years? It doesn't really matter. But the way it's set up, the way this project is set up, it can definitely run. Okay. I think this is one, and you can see it went all the way to 5.4 million market cap, which basically we're half of it now. I think we're going to blow right past this. I'm in the money on this one. And also, risk management is important. I don't put more than $1,000 or $2,000 behind these projects max. I don't go 10,000, 20,000. A lot of people put $10,000, $20,000 behind these projects. Terrible idea. Do not do that. Okay, you guys need to have risk management. These are higher risk projects. A project like ICP, yes, you can put more, or AVAX, you can put more. And that's why I talked about them first. Those big projects, those big line projects, the ones in the top 100, yes, these you can put more. The ones that are not fighting against you and dumping on you, at least. You can throw $100,000 at AVAX or ICP, but you don't throw $100,000 at Fold. Volume today was only $8,600. You'll throw like $1,000. That's how it works. Okay. And it's basically, if you lose it all, you'll lose it all. Besides that, guys, I don't see a lot of great stuff on the alts. I see some. These are some of the alts down here that I'm into. I got airdropped some of this token called CDX, and they're doing some great stuff with AI. I got airdropped these tokens for free. It's worth like $1,500 now because I own Big Tony, which I made a lot of money on Big Tony. It went to all the way to a $10 million market cap, but now it's dead. So welcome to crypto. Sold enough of it, thankfully, where I made a profit and everything is good. But I want you guys to understand something, that these are very high risk projects, only $20,000 in volume for the day. So CDX out of my list is probably one of the few. There's also Bob on ICP, which is the one that burns most of ICP. But again, maybe too advanced for you guys right now. Bob is kind of hard to buy. Those are kind of the tokens I would stick to. I'm giving you a very slim number of the ones that I believe are kind of the best of the best. Okay. I can give you more degenerate stuff later on, but definitely you want to find tokens that don't inflate too much or have most of their inflation done. And you want to find tokens that are cheap enough. And you also want to find tokens that have some sort of influencer backing them, at least for a period of time. Because without an influencer, without a big community, it's just dead in the water, especially for these tokens that are not worth anything, that are worth like 5 or 10 million. And that's why I'm looking at influencers like Alex Becker. Alex Becker actually pushes a lot of garbage that doesn't work out, but at least I know he talks about them. Like Desync is one he talks about all the time. And I do own some Desync. And the reason I own it is because I know he's going to always talk about it. So when it goes on a sale or in a dip, guess what? I buy it because I know Alex Becker, hey, he's going to make a video in a month or a week. He's going to talk about it. And lo and behold, every time he does, it does something like this. Right? And he just talked about it, I believe, recently. And also the market's doing better. So And Desync has all the, I believe it's fully diluted. So 168 million is probably a little bit rich for me. Is Desync going to do a 10x? It could. It could go to 1.6 billion. Destra Networks. So these are the things that I look for. I look for if it's a good project, if its inflation is gone. I look for the market cap, and I look for is the team good? And then I look for who are the influencers behind it. So I look at different things. Most of the stuff you're seeing on X, by the way, most of those guys are being paid because they don't really care. There's no face to the person. So that's why people go on YouTube. That's why YouTube becomes the center of crypto in a bull run. That's why all of a sudden you'll see YouTubers charging sometimes more. I've seen YouTubers make way more than that. $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a video for a small YouTuber in a lot of cases, only with 10 or 20,000 followers, just because he gets the views and he has the meta, and people will go to him. So you got to understand this is what is about to change over the next few months. I'll kind of keep you guys updated, but this is what I'm looking at. There are a few others that I do like that I know that influencers do follow them. But like I said, I'm not giving you guys everything right now, but this is another one that I do own for a while, but it's way up. Parallel networks. I do believe Alex Becker actually talked about this also. I don't believe he's talked about it recently, but it is actually a decent project. But again, worth $21 million. It was worth half of that not that long ago. Yes, and I was picking it off on the lows as much as I could. I picked up some higher, but then I started picking up the lows to bring down my cost because I thought it was going to run up here because it's a newer token, but obviously it didn't. Inflation was already out of it. But I think this is one that can do a 10x, 20x, 30x. These are the type of tokens, if this does a 10x, it's only worth $200 million. It does a 100x, it's only $2.1 billion. These are the kind of projects I'm looking for. There's Parallel AI. I think there's another one, and I like these kind of projects. I believe there's Palm AI also. AI projects. As you can see, the price point is starting to come up on them. $41 million, a little bit of inflation, nothing crazy, kind of similar chart, right? So these are the kind of things that I'm looking at. I'm going to be throwing a couple $1,000s their way. These I can throw a little bit more. I'm a little bit more comfortable with these because they're sitting at the bottom. Maybe I'll throw $1,000 or $2,000, $3,000 max. Some of the smaller ones like Ava, I'm going to put $1,000 on them. The bigger ones, obviously, like ICP, that I'm more passionate about. I know it's a great project. I'm going to put real money behind something like ICP. I'm going to put real money behind it. So that's how I would look at your risk. Higher up on the list here it is. You can put more money into it. Lower on the risk list, lower market cap, less daily volume, less money. You don't put in $10,000, $20,000 in a fold, for example, because you might not even be able to sell it into the liquidity pool, get your money out. You want to do $1,000 or $2,000. So that's kind of how you got to think of it. Hope that was good. I'll keep you guys abreast of things. If I see other alts, I have a few other ones I'm looking at, but I've been doing a lot of research, 12 hours of research a day, trying to find the right alts. I personally think I'm positioned correctly already. I own tons of stuff already. So I was already kind of positioned. I really didn't have to do anything. I'm just kind of doubling down on my conviction plays. And most of the buying today I did was here, ICP. That's it. It's my conviction play. I might be wrong on it. I might be right on it. It hasn't done very well. 12% is actually very poor, but inflation is gone, has a great team, some of the best tech in crypto, has this thing called Caffeine AI that's coming out, which is basically you tell it what you want and it makes it for you. It makes your website for you. And it puts the canisters, which is the like AWS. You have your own decentralized. You have your own decentralized servers for you. They call them canisters. Like, who does that? It's incredible. And you pay them in the ICP token. So I'm looking at all this stuff going, if Caffeine AI blows up, internet computer is going to blow up to $50 or $100. It is one of the few that can do a 10, 20, even 30x. It can just go once people really understand it. Just nobody really understands it. Really nobody knows about it right now. So this is my theory behind a lot of this stuff. And beyond that, there's not a lot of great stuff. People say there's so many cryptocurrencies. There's 12,000 of them. You know, how many does this list now? It usually gives the number. I think last time I looked, there you go. Oh my God, 18,000 tokens, 1,300 exchanges. 18,000 tokens, literally. I mean, there's like maybe 20, 30 good projects. That's the reality of it. That's the sad part about it. But the ones that meet the criteria that I like to get on is even less. Like I said, I've been looking at a lot of stuff. If I see other things, I'll do another update to my alt videos so you guys can get a little bit better idea of where to go. But basically, you know, you get the criteria, you get the websites. I think you know a little bit of where to go now and kind of do your own research and try to figure this out. All right, guys, best of luck. I'll talk to you soon.